Now, our senior politics reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo is at the Olive Convention Centre in Durban with the latest on the ANC KwaZulu-Natal elective conference. Ziyanda, very good evening to you. The voting for the top 5 officials is underway. The influential position of chairperson is a 2-horse race. What's happening so far?
Yeah, so the voting in poll is still continuing as we speak, and it's largely a 2-horse race for all the positions. Boniso Duma Sihle Zikalala for chairperson, Kwazi Mshengu and Noma Smelane for deputy chair, and for that coveted position of secretary, which is very important, especially going into the elective conference in December. It's going to be a race between the incumbent Mdumiseni Ntuli as well as Bheki Mtolo. You know, Mpo, this conference has largely felt like a national conference, primarily because, of course, this is the biggest region of the ANC, and it will have a huge influence going into the 55th National Conference, where President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to contest. Now, when you look at what's happening here and the various factions, one is called Amankole Amahle, which is seen as those supporting President Cyril Ramaphosa. The others known as the Taliban, which are aligned with the former Health Minister, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, as well as other factions that were pushing their own slates, the Fresh Approach by Sandile Zungu and the Game Changer slate by Nomusa Dube. It's very important then to unpack who these candidates are, so that we get an understanding of how this conference, this province in particular, will be, moving, going into that elective conference. And to join me now is Zakhele Ndlovu. He's a UKZN political sciences lecturer. I mean, when you look at the factions in KwaZulu-Natal, it's not necessarily, dichotomous between RET and Cyril Ramaphosa. There's now the elements of Dr. Zweli Mkhize. There are also other elements then that contribute towards the nuances within the politics of KwaZulu-Natal. When you look at the various candidates who are running, what is the likelihood that President Cyril Ramaphosa has KwaZulu-Natal in the bag?
Yes, let me just begin by saying that I've spent much of the day here today and just, sensing the mood. You can see that the Taliban seem to have the numbers. So there's an expectation, in fact when you talk to many people here, there's an expectation that the Taliban could very well upset the incumbent, Sihle Zikalala. The interesting position also is that of secretary. Bheki Mtolo, many people are saying that he stands a very, very good chance of winning that position. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see which slate is going to emerge. But what is also interesting about this slate is that, and we don't talk much about this, is what do they stand for in terms of ideological position and stuff like that. So there are some other interests here that are involved. And also, let me just say this, if you look at the manner in which leaders are chosen here, it doesn't lend itself to producing quality leadership.
Which part of the conference makes you say that? Is it because they didn't, nominate or support Nomusa Dube or Sandile Zungu? Which part of this conference makes you feel that quality is not something that is a priority for this gathering?
Well, delegates are presented with slates, right? And then so when people vote, it's not a matter of which slate can produce good leaders, but it's more of a popularity contest that, I'm loyal to Sihle Zikalala. And of course, if you look at the bigger picture, the Sihle Zikalala faction is associated with President Cyril Ramaphosa. And then of course, the Taliban slate is associated with former Health Minister Zweli Mkhize. So now, again, if you look at how these slates emerge, it's got nothing to do with producing quality leaders, but it's more about who's going to bring the numbers to this particular slate.
And when we look then at also a figure such as former President Jacob Zuma, whose figure and shadow loomed large at this conference, when you look at what happened when Paul Mashatile was being called to the podium and the delegates were chanting, "Wenze Newzroom, what has Zuma done?" And of course this is in reference to the history of when Paul Mashatile was chairman of the Gauteng province in 2016, where Gauteng was one of the first provinces to call for former President Jacob Zuma to step down. I mean, can we say that the Taliban are linked to Zuma, or is it possible that you can still love former President Jacob Zuma, but at Nasrec, at the 55th National Conference this December, that you still vote for Ramaphosa? I mean, what are the grey areas?
You know, the interesting thing about the Taliban is that we associate it with Dr. Zweli Mkhize, but you see a lot of people who supported the winning faction at the Tewin Regional Conference, which is associated with former President Jacob Zuma. So you see now the people who are Zuma sympathizers now supporting this particular faction. Remember also that KwaZulu-Natal does not have representation in the current top 6 of the leadership of the ANC. And so I think that there's a push to get Dr. Zweli Mkhize elected president of the ANC. And if Zweli Mkhize does not get the support of his province, his chances of even becoming a formidable opponent of Ramaphosa is dead. So he needs KwaZulu-Natal to back him. And unfortunately, KwaZulu-Natal is no longer united as it used to be. When Zuma was the president, the province was united, but now it's very much divided.
I mean, the mention of former Health Minister Dr. Zweli Mkhize possibly becoming president, just even that sentence may upset those who are outside of the ANC to say, but how can you elect someone who's implicated in corruption and yet the party is talking about unity and renewal? Again, there's always this issue of what the ANC wants for itself internally vis-a-vis outside. What do even prospective voters of the ANC think about the organization from the outside? How much support would Zweli Mkhize get, in your opinion, at conference, given how much the issue of 2024 is pressing for this organization?
No, this is a very, very interesting question, because I don't think that the delegates who are here think about, if we elect this particular leader, is this particular leader going to attract ordinary South Africans to vote for the ANC? Now, given how the support of the ANC has been declining over the years, you would think that that would be the most important thing in the minds of ANC supporters, to make sure that the leaders who emerge are those who will inspire confidence among ordinary South Africans who are not members of the ANC. So I would hope that in the lead up to the December conference, that's what preoccupies ANC supporters, that they elect leaders who are going to inspire confidence among ordinary citizens, so that it doesn't continue to lose the support it's been losing.
All right, and for that, Zakhele Ndlovu, he is a UKZN political sciences lecturer, reflecting then on what this conference means, not only for the province of KwaZulu-Natal, but of course then the much coveted 55th National Conference in December, the biggest region of the ANC. How much of a force will it be come December? Will Dr. Zweli Mkhize really put up a fight for the position of president of this organization against the backdrop of the Phala scandal that is still riddling President Cyril Ramaphosa? President Cyril Ramaphosa still, according to Acting Secretary General Paul Mashatile, expected to close this conference tomorrow. We're yet to get a final confirmation on this, but certainly many moving parts then to the story of the ANC and whether or not it can claw back all those electoral losses.
Very well. Senior politics reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo bringing us the latest on the ground when it comes to the process around the KZN ANC elective conference. We continue to bring you more throughout the course of this evening.